The first thing the rich ex-wife did after being released from prison was to bring people to look for me all over the world. I just got off work and went to the underground garage that day, and I saw this woman wearing all branded clothes. I just wanted to turn around and leave, and Liu Ruyan ran over screaming. Chen Feng listened to my explanation. Liu Ruyan stretched out her hand to touch me, but I pushed her away. Explain my sneer. Why didn't you listen to my explanation when you had someone lock me up in the basement 4 years ago? Her hand froze in midair, and her exquisite makeup couldn't hide the panic on her face. Before she could speak, I slapped her hard in the face. The crisp slap echoed in the garage, and Liu Ruyan staggered and hit his limited edition Ferrari. As a former Special Forces soldier, I only used 3/10 of my strength in this slap. If it weren't for the fact that we were once husband and wife, I would have made him lie down just because he dared to come to me today. Several bodyguards rushed forward immediately, but Liu Ruyan raised her hand to stop them. All retreat, he covered his face, his voice trembling. He is my husband. Ex-husband, I corrected him. You have long regarded me as a beast, saying that I am worse than pigs and dogs. 4 years have passed, from the time I was locked up in that dark basement to now regaining my freedom. A full 4 years have passed. Who would have thought that the daughter of the Liu security group would marry her personal bodyguard? No one would have thought that the man who once protected her with his life would be sent to hell by his own hands. I am here to remind you. Liu Ruyan wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth. I checked the woman you went on a blind date with. She has been married 3 times. She is not worthy at all. I couldn't help laughing up to the sky. You are also worthy of talking to me about whether you are worthy or not. If I hadn't used my life to help you block that bullet, the grass on your grave would be very tall now. I know I was wrong. His voice was filled with tears. Knowing I was wrong, I squatted down and stared into his eyes. Let Xiao Yun, that scumbag, come back and target me everywhere, that's fine. He slandered me for molesting his cousin, and you locked me up without even looking at the surveillance. There are no private rooms in the mall. Liu Ruyan, you don't even want to verify such a simple fact. When I mention this, my chest aches. It was our 4th wedding anniversary. I wanted to give him a surprise, but I waited for this game designed by him and Xiao Yun. The watch that Xiao Yun used as evidence of the crime was clearly his cousin, who pestered to borrow it to play. Such a simple trap made me squat in the basement for 3 whole years. The dust rolled away. I stood up and stopped looking at him. You are not worthy of the blood I shed for you, nor are you worthy of the sincerity I have given you. Looking at his embarrassed back, I clenched my fists. I once thought that as long as I was sincere, I could cross the class gap. But in the end, in his eyes, I was always the security guard who could be abandoned at will. Leaving the underground garage, I drove back to the rental house. This is the place I rented after I gained my freedom. Although it is simple, it is much better than the basement. There is a photo of me as a Special Forces soldier on the wall. At that time, my eyes were firm and full of hope. After pouring a glass of wine, I stared at the night outside the window in a daze. Today's confrontation with Liu Ruyan made those memories that I deliberately suppressed surge up again. Ding-ling-ling, the phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number. Captain Chan, is Chanqian's timid voice. Sorry, I was silent for a moment. You apologize now because Xiao Yun went in. Yes, he cried. I always wanted to tell you the truth, but Xiao Yun threatened me, saying that he would make my mother lose her job. I sneered. So you cooperated with him and framed an innocent person. I heard sobbing on the other end of the phone, and I knew I was wrong. That day in the mall, it was me who pestered to borrow your watch, but Xiao Yun said it was just a prank. I didn't expect it would be long enough, so I interrupted him, saying that you are still young and it's not your fault. After hanging up the phone, I poured myself another glass of wine. In fact, I had already found out that Xiao Yun not only framed me, but also planned to completely control the Liu group through this incident. He used Chanqian because he knew that Liu Ruyan cared most about her reputation. When I think of Liu Ruyan's name, my heart still hurts. After 7 years of love, he betrayed me without hesitation. I remember when we first met, he was still a rich lady being hunted, and I was just an ordinary bodyguard. When the bullet hit my body, I thought the love I exchanged for my life would last forever. But I was wrong. In his eyes, I will always be the inferior bodyguard. Putting down the wine glass, I walked to the window. The building of Liu Group was brightly lit in the night. 4 years ago today, I stood in his office like this, ready to give him a surprise. Who knew that what I was waiting for was a carefully designed trap? The watch is still lying in my drawer. He witnessed the beginning of everything and should also witness the end of everything. The text message on the mobile phone rang. It was sent by Liu Ruyan. I am downstairs from you. Can we talk? I looked out the window. His Ferrari was parked on the side of the road. The figure in the car looked so lonely. There was nothing to talk about. I replied and closed the curtains. The past was like a tide and scenes flashed before my eyes. The clearest one was the morning of the 4th anniversary of our marriage. As the night deepened, I sat alone on the balcony of my rental house, smoking one cigarette after another. My thoughts gradually returned to the day of our 4th wedding anniversary. I remember it very clearly. I had booked a restaurant in advance that day, wanting to give Liu Ruyan a surprise. The salary of the security captain was not high, but I still bought her a necklace she liked. Who knew that this gift would not even have a chance to be given away in the end? Captain Chen and General Manager Liu were waiting in the office. His secretary stopped me and said there was something important. I pushed open the office door and saw Liu Ruyan sitting on the leather sofa with a gloomy face. Xiao Yun was leaning against his desk with a faint smile on his lips. Wait a minute, there is another important person coming. He didn't even raise his head. I secretly sighed in my heart that this rich lady had a temper of a young master, and he couldn't change it after 4 years of marriage. But thinking of the necklace in my pocket, I still waited patiently. 10 minutes later, a little girl in school uniform walked in. Qianqian, don't be afraid. Xiao Yun stepped forward and hugged the girl's shoulders. Your brother is here. I frowned and watched this scene. Since the investor returned to China, the company has spread the news that he is going to marry Liu Ruyan. But I didn't expect that he would use such despicable means to cover it up. Xiao Yun suddenly turned to me, his voice choked. Why did you treat Qianqian like this? Is it because you are jealous of the relationship between Ruyan and me? I was confused and pretended to be stupid. He took out a watch. Isn't this your watch? It was the one that Qianqian pulled off when she struggled desperately in the private room of the shopping mall. I was stunned. This watch is indeed mine. The day before yesterday, this girl named Qianqian pestered me to borrow it. Play slap. Before I could explain, Liu Ruyan's slap came over. You beast. His eyes were spitting fire. How dare you touch a child? Wife, listen to my explanation. Shut up. He interrupted me harshly. Security guard, catch this scumbag for me. The office door was knocked open, and the security guards who had been waiting outside swarmed in. I looked at Liu Ruyan and suddenly understood something. This woman who I exchanged my life for never really believed in me. In her eyes, I will always be the inferior bodyguard. The security guards swarmed over, but they forgot my identity. As a former Special Forces soldier, it was no problem for me to deal with these people. I turned sideways and avoided the grasp of the security guard in front, but I didn't continue to take action because Liu Ruyan's next sentence completely shattered my heart. Lock him up in the basement. I want him to live a life worse than death. Xiao Yun spoke at the right time with false pity on his face. Ruyan, do you want to call the police? This kind of thing is not allowed. Liu Ruyan gritted her teeth with a cold light in her eyes. If this kind of thing gets out, it will ruin the reputation of the Liu family. You are right, let him confess in the basement. Qianqian hid behind Xiao Yun with a flickering look in her eyes. I wanted to make a final defense and then my brain got hot, as if something hit it, and then my eyes went black and I knew nothing. When I woke up again, I had been locked in that dark place. The moment the iron door was closed, I realized that this place had been specially renovated. There were iron chains nailed to the damp walls. There was only a simple bed and a toilet in the corner. The air was filled with moldy smell, which was nauseating. 1 month later, I naively thought that Liu Ruyan would come to see me and give me a chance to explain. After all, we had been in love for 7 years. I had blocked bullets for him and accompanied him through the most difficult days. However, all I got was the beatings from the guards. In the second month, the guards became more and more vicious. They said it was Mr. Zhao's order to treat a scumbag like me well. Every time they delivered food, they would kick me a few times. I began to understand that this was an elaborate scheme. Xiao Yun not only wanted to get Liu Ruyan, but also wanted to completely destroy me. In the third month, I heard festive music coming from upstairs. The drunken guard told me that Xiao Yun had become the vice president of the company and was preparing for his wedding with Liu Ruyan. You are also a poor creature. The guard drank so much that his tongue was tied. He blocked bullets for him, but in the end, ending up like this, I lay on the damp bed, recalling the feeling of the bullet piercing my body. The pain then was far less than the pain in my heart now. Days passed and I began to use the dinner plates delivered to me to calculate time, carving marks on the wall. Each dinner plate was like a slap in the face, reminding me of my former innocence. 1 year later, my hair grew almost covering my eyes, and my beard was untidy. The guards said I looked like a wild dog. 2 years later, I heard that Xiao Yun had completely taken control of the company, and Liu Ruyan was immersed in a sweet love. 2.5 years later, Qianqian came once and stood at the door to look at me. She wanted to say something but stopped, and was finally pulled away by Xiao Yun. I saw guilt in her eyes, but it didn't matter anymore, until the 3rd year, when the voice that changed everything came from upstairs. I'm sorry, this place is here. There are no private rooms. Our mall has never had any private rooms. This is the design drawing of our mall. The layout has not changed since its opening. It was the voice of the mall security supervisor. It turned out that someone was here to investigate what happened that year. Then there was a panic. Xiao Yun was furious upstairs and told me to block the news and not let anyone know. Find out who is investigating this and get rid of it. I lay in the dark and smiled. God finally opened his eyes and gave me a chance to get the truth out. 3 days later, the iron door of the basement was opened. In the dazzling light, I saw Liu Ruyan's pale face. She was wearing an expensive suit, but she looked so embarrassed. Chen Feng's voice was trembling. I'm sorry. I looked straight into her eyes. Her gaze was as sharp as a knife. Now I know it's too late to apologize. What do you mean by too late? Liu Ruyan bit her lip. I have already checked it out. It was Xiao Yun who was lying to me. I interrupted her with a sneer. Check it out. You know now the facts that could have been discovered by a casual check at the beginning. You insisted on waiting for 3 years. What you? I stood up suddenly. 3 years of humiliation made me unable to control my emotions anymore. Liu Ruyan, do you think that I should forgive you for your apology, and thank you for your kindness in letting me out? He took a step back. A trace of panic flashed in his eyes. Probably because he didn't expect that I, who had been in prison for 3 years, could still have such a great momentum. I know I was wrong. His voice choked. I have broken up with Xiao Yun. Chen also admitted that it was him who instructed him to lie. I looked at him coldly. So what do you want to get back? Yes. A glimmer of hope flashed in Liu Ruyan's eyes. Are you still willing to give me a chance? I looked up to the sky and laughed. The laughter echoed in the basement. Do you deserve the chance? I turned around and took out a USB flash drive from under the bed. This was given to me secretly by a conscientious guard in the 2nd year of my imprisonment. It records the conversation between Xiao Yun and Chen. Do you want to listen to how your Prince Charming designed all this? I clicked on the recording and Xiao Yun's proud voice rang out. Chen did a good job. As long as you cooperate with me, I will definitely not treat you badly when I become the president. But it's not good to lie to Sister Ruyan like this, and Captain Chen is very good to me. Silly girl, you don't understand. Ruyan is mine. I can't let a stinky bodyguard defile her. Liu Ruyan's face turned pale. Why didn't you tell me about this recording earlier? I sneered at you. Will you believe it? It's just like when I said I had never touched Chen. Did you believe it? She slumped on the ground. I'm sorry, don't say sorry. I looked down at her. You don't know what sorry is. You just hate that you were deceived and that you misjudged the person. You don't really regret hurting me. No, he grabbed my trouser leg. I really regret it. Please give me another chance. I shook off his hand. Liu Ruyan, do you know how I have been living for the past 3 years? I am treated as a scum and a beast every day. Your bodyguards treat me as a punching bag. What are you doing? I heard that you and Xiao Yun are very sweet and are going to get married. On the first day I came out of the basement, I didn't leave immediately. I leaned against the wall in the corridor. I heard excited voices coming from the office. Fierce quarrel, you liar. It was Liu Ruyan's hysterical voice. 3 years, 3 whole years. You actually lied to me for 3 years. Ruyan, listen to my explanation. Xiao Yun's voice was flustered. What to explain? Explain how you framed Chen Feng. Or explain how you used a little girl. You did it all for you. Is that poor bodyguard worthy of you? Slap, a crisp slap. I turned and left. This good show does not need me to watch. The same office 3 years ago. The same slap, just the roles were reversed. The brothers in the security department saw me. They all showed guilty looks. Their former boss was locked up for 3 years. But they were powerless. Captain Chen, I'm sorry. Lao Zhang's eyes were red. I patted his shoulder. I don't blame you. Walked out of the company gate. The sun stung me. I couldn't open my eyes. 3 years of darkness made me almost forget the temperature of the sun. There were hurried footsteps behind Chen Feng. It was Grandpa Liu. This old man who was once so arrogant now looked so old. Grandpa, I nodded slightly. Child, it was our fault. His voice was choked with sobs. There was no need to worry about the company's affairs. I interrupted him. I just wanted to live a quiet life. How could that be possible? The old man was anxious. Xiao Yun, that beast almost ruined our family. Now the company needs you. I turned and looked at him. You needed me 3 years ago. Why didn't you need me? The old man was speechless. Don't worry, I won't pursue the responsibility for these 3 years. Just regard it as repaying the favor of saving Liu Ruyan. I walked a few steps and heard the old man shouting again. That girl really regretted it. This month is enough for him. I didn't even look back. Some mistakes can't be made up by regret. When I got home, I found an unexpected person standing at the door. Chan's Uncle Chen. He looked at me timidly and came in with the watch that triggered everything in his hand. Let's talk. In the room, Chen cried and told the truth. It turned out that Xiao Yun threatened him that if he didn't cooperate, his mother would lose her job. His mother is a single mother. Work is too important to them. I am a coward to me. I poured him a glass of water. You are still young. This is not your fault, but I have hurt you for so long. Remember this lesson. I said that if you encounter such a thing in the future, you must dare to tell the truth. Send Chen away. I lay on the bed and stared at the ceiling in a daze. My phone kept vibrating. They were all missed calls and text messages from Liu Ruyan. Can we talk? Give me a chance to explain. Chen Feng, I know I was wrong. I deleted them all and then dialed a number. Loudly, do you still remember me? Yes, I am Chen Feng. Is the company still short of people? Well, I want to start over. A month later, Mr. Chen, someone sent flowers downstairs again. An assistant Xiao Wang looked embarrassed. I looked up, glanced at the pile of roses at the door of the office, sneered and threw them away. Ever since I sent Xiao Yun to prison with the recorded evidence, the Liu group has been in turmoil. The old man found me and offered to let me take over the company. You are much better than that surname Xiao. The old man sighed. It was us who were blind. I wanted to refuse, but thinking of those who were still suffering in the basement, I accepted. At least I can ensure that no one else will suffer the pain I have experienced. Chen, Miss Liu is here again. Before Xiao Wang finished speaking, Liu Ruyan pushed the door open. She looked much more haggard than a month ago. Even with her carefully dressed makeup, she couldn't hide the fatigue in her eyes. Chen Feng, can we talk? I signed the document without raising my head. There's nothing to talk about. I have transferred all the shares to you. His voice trembled. The company is completely under your control. I just want to think about something. I interrupted him. He wanted me to be touched and forgive you. Liu Ruyan bit her lip. I knew I was wrong. I have been reflecting on myself every day for the past month. I used to be too self-righteous and trusted Xiao Yun too much, so I finally looked up. Do you think that if you apologized and sent flowers, I should let bygones be bygones? No, he explained eagerly. I really understood my mistake. This month I have been. Go to that basement and experience your feelings. I sneered and experienced it. You think that if you stay there for a few hours, you will understand my pain. You don't understand at all. Liu Ruyan, you are always just moving yourself, thinking that you are very brave and responsible, but have you ever thought about it? If there was no recording, you would still be in Xiao Yun's arms now? His face turned pale instantly. That's enough. I stood up and looked down at him. Just go away and pretend that we have never met. No, he suddenly rushed over and hugged my legs. Chen Feng, you can hit me and scold me, but don't drive me away. Looking at this rich lady who was once high and mighty, now begging me like a dog, There was no fluctuation in my heart. The security played the inside line and sent Miss Liu out. Looking at her back as she was carried away, I turned and looked out the window. 3 years of hell have wiped out all my feelings for her. Late at night, I stood at the door of the basement where the 3-year nightmare began and where it should all end. I knew you would come here. I heard Liu Ruyan's voice from behind me. I didn't look back. You followed me, didn't she whisper? I come here every night to try to understand your pain. I turned to look at her. Her haggard face was covered with tear marks in the moonlight. You will never understand why he choked and why you didn't even give me a chance. I sneered at the chance. When I knelt in front of you and begged you to believe me, did you give me a chance? I interrupted him. What hurts the most is not being locked up here, but finding out that the person I love the most doesn't even want to give me the basic trust. Liu Ruyan burst into tears and said, I'm sorry, I really know it's too late. I took out a document from my pocket, the divorce agreement. I have already signed it. You should sign it too. No, he shook his head frantically. I don't owe it to you unless you tell me if you have forgiven me for even a second in these 3 years. I was silent for a moment, looking into his eyes. Every night in the basement, I persuaded myself to forgive you. Hope ignited in his eyes, but I continued to speak. Every time the guards punched and kicked when delivering meals, they reminded me you have never treated me as an equal husband. In your eyes, I will always be the inferior bodyguard. No, he rushed over and hugged me. I have always loved you sincerely. I gently pushed him away. If this is love, then I would rather not have it. When I turned to leave, I heard his heartbreaking cry behind me. Chen Feng, I know I was wrong. Please don't leave. I threw the divorce agreement without looking back and signed it. You owe me, just consider it the interest for these 3 years. A month later, I left the city. Before leaving, I went to see Qian, the little girl who was used by Xiao Yun. Now she is much more sensible. Uncle Chen, I'm sorry, she cried and said. I touched, patting her head. I don't blame you. Remember, you must have the courage to admit your mistakes. Don't be like some people who regret only after they lose something. Looking at the city going farther and farther away outside the car window, I know that it is all over. Some people say that letting go is a relief, but some scars will never heal. I choose to walk away with this scar, because all that is left is the pain of tearing. 3 months after leaving that city, I opened a security company in a small seaside town. It is not large, but it is quiet. No one here knows my past, and no one asks me why I am alone. Mr. Chan has your express delivery, the front desk Shaoli shouted. I took the package. It was a thick document. I opened it and saw that it was the share transfer book of Liu Group with my name written neatly on it. Grandpa Liu called me. This was Ruyan's intention. He said that these shares could not make up for the 3 years you lost. I was silent for a moment and said, no need. The old man sighed. The girl seemed to have become a different person these days. She went to the basement every night and said she wanted to understand your feelings. That was enough. I interrupted him and let the past be the past. I hung up the phone and looked at the sea view outside the window. The sun shone on the waves, flickering with golden light. Ding-ling-ling. Another unexpected call. Uncle Chen is Qian. I was admitted to university law department. I smiled. Not bad, study hard. Well, I want to be an honest lawyer and never be a coward again. He paused. By the way, Aunt Liu, don't mention her. Put down the phone. I tidied up my desk. A photo slid out from the pile of documents. It was my wedding photo with Liu Ruyan. We smiled so brightly in the photo. Who would have thought that in just a few years we would become what we are now? Mr. Chen and Shaoli were poking their heads out at the door. There was a lady named Liu downstairs. I was not there, but she said she would wait. I walked to the window and saw Liu Ruyan standing downstairs. She was no longer the glamorous daughter of a rich family. She was wearing a simple white shirt and no makeup. She just stood there like a statue, plastic, until night fell. She was still there. I packed up my things and prepared to get off work. When I passed by her, she spoke. I don't ask for your forgiveness, but I stopped and didn't look back. These days, I finally understood. Her voice was crying. Loving someone, the most basic thing is trust, but I can't even do this most basic thing. The night wind blew, carrying the salty taste of seawater, so he took a deep breath. I let you go, but can you tell me, is there any chance in this life? I was silent for a long time and finally turned to look at him. Liu Ruyan, some wounds time will heal, but some trust once broken can never be put back. Good life. Leaving these words, I turned and left. 1 year later, Mr. Chen, someone outside is looking for Shaoli, and he poked his head in. Who said his surname is Xiao? I paused and looked up at the calendar. It turned out that a year has passed. Let him in. Xiao Yun is much more haggard than a year ago. He no longer looks like an elite in a suit and tie. There is an indescribable complexity in his eyes. What are you doing here? I continued to watch. The document came out. He smiled bitterly and wanted to apologize in person. I put down the pen. No need to seal it. He suddenly knelt down. I know I did something wrong. I regretted it every day in there this year. That's enough. I interrupted him. You are not here to apologize. Tell me what you want. Xiao Yun stunned for a moment, then smiled bitterly. Sure enough, nothing can be hidden from you and me. I want to ask you to save Ruyan. I squinted my eyes. What do you mean? He is crazy. Xiao Yun's voice trembled. Since you left, he has become a different person, going to that basement every night, sometimes staying there all night. What does it have to do with me? He has locked himself in there for 3 days now, and won't listen to anyone's advice. I sneered. Aren't you the best at lying? Why don't you trick him out? Xiao Yun knelt and crawled forward 2 steps, begging you, just pity him. He has been tortured beyond recognition. I stood up and looked down at him. Xiao Yun, do you still remember what it was like back then? How did you slander me? Now you beg me. Are you worthy? Get out of here. I turned and looked at the sea view outside the window. Don't make me say it a second time. After Xiao Yun left, I couldn't sit still. I picked up the car keys and drove back to the city. The basement was still the same, but with more wine bottles. Liu Ruyan curled up in the corner like a broken doll. You are finally here. He raised his head with a dazed look in his eyes. I knew you would come. I didn't say anything but just leaned against the door frame and looked at him. It's dark here, right? He talked to himself, but you have been here for 3 years, 3 whole years. That's enough. I said, stop acting. He smiled miserably. I just want to feel your pain, but the more I feel it, the more I hate myself. I walked in and squatted in front of him. So, do you think I will forgive you like this? No, he shook his head. I don't ask for forgiveness, I just want to punish myself. Looking at his haggard appearance, there was no fluctuation in my heart. Get up and stop doing these meaningless things. He suddenly grabbed my hand and asked, did it hurt when that bullet hit you that day? I was stunned. It must have hurt a lot, he murmured to himself, but compared to the pain I broke your heart, what does that pain matter? I shook off his hand and stopped talking about the past. You know, he said to himself, I often dreamed of you this year, dreaming that you took my place, blocked the bullet, dream about you in the basement. Every time I wake up I want to kill myself. I take a deep breath. Enough. What do you want? I want you to come back. He looked up at me with pleading in his eyes. Even if it's just scolding me, beating me is better than you doing this. It's impossible. I am firm. Some roads once you take the wrong way, you can never go back. I stood up and looked at him for the last time. Live well, don't come to me again. His voice came from behind when I turned around. If give me another chance, I will definitely believe you. I stopped and didn't look back. But there is no if in this world. Leaving the basement, I met Mr. Liu in the corridor. Child, he hesitated to speak. Take good care of him. I said, just consider it as repaying the bullet. Back to the seaside town. It was already dark. I stood on the balcony looking at the lighthouse in the distance. Suddenly I remembered many years ago, Liu Ruyan and I had also seen the lighthouse. At that time he asked if one day we separated, what would you do? I smiled and said we wouldn't separate. I am your personal bodyguard. I will protect you all my life. Now it's really ironic that the love that bullets can't kill was defeated by the simplest distrust. 5 years later, Mr. Chen, please take a look at this bid. Xiaoli handed me a document. I opened it and saw that it was the security project of Liu Group. Bidding no, I closed the file, but Xiaoli hesitated to speak. This is a big project. I shook my head. Some money can't be earned easily. I put down the file and looked out the window. 5 years is enough to change a lot of things. My security company has become the largest security agency in this coastal city, and its business has expanded to several surrounding provinces. By the way, Xiaoli suddenly remembered something. A little girl came to see you this morning. She said her name was Qian. I was stunned for a moment. She came to the door of the office. Qian has grown up, wearing a lawyer's robe and a capable temperament. Uncle Chen smiled and asked me to sit down. I poured him a glass of water. I heard that you passed the lawyer qualification exam. Well, he nodded. Boss, I am now providing legal aid to some disadvantaged groups. I smiled. Not bad, promising. Qian hesitated. Uncle Chen, I am actually here to tell you a piece of news. Aunt Liu, she is getting married. I paused for a moment, then continued to make tea as if nothing had happened. Oh, congratulations. The other party is an entrepreneur and treats her very well. Qian carefully observed my expression. He asked me to ask you if you want to attend the wedding. I shook my head and said no. After sending Qian away, I stood alone on the balcony. Night fell, the sea breeze blew, and there was a salty taste. The phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number. Hello, it's me, Liu Ruyan's voice. I was silent for a moment. Something happened. I'm getting married. Qian told me. Congratulations. There was silence on the other end of the phone for a long time. You really won't come to the wedding? No, there was silence again. His voice was choked with sobs. I have been waiting for an opportunity all these years. Don't say anymore. I interrupted him. Let the past be the past. I wish you happiness. I hung up the phone and lit a cigarette. 5 years are enough to heal all the pain. But some memories are like brand marks, which will always remain in the heart. Perhaps this is the answer that fate gives us. Not all mistakes can be forgiven, not all pains will be healed by time, but at least we have learned to move on. The full text is over.